Team na vote.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino.
Great success.
We are on the air and we are not frozen. Great success. Not so much a great success if you are a 49ers fan. We're going to try to take a look at that whole situation, that entire mess in San Francisco, and make sense of it, maybe from a couple different angles, a couple different views, maybe go the 30,000-foot view. Also, Kings back to buoyant, as the image says, 500. Is it a new season, a new feel? Same problems? We'll talk about those. And we've got horsing around with the NFL. We've got WWE, I think. I know my boy Adam has been grinding out of town, so I'm not sure if he's in. He's got the link. We'll probably get to that and so much more. Friday, we made it. Let's get after it. The King's Court on If You Don't Like That. Court is in session.
Grant and Ryan break it down. It's Sacktown, we're the crown.
Needs to be more aggressive on the offensive end, but this is the kind of
Williams, the D-line.
Fox. Goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like.
I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
I'd like to apologize to nobody. You made it through the week. It's Friday. Kings are off this weekend until Monday. They win in New Orleans, but I got to tell you, man, there is something cursed about that building. Something cursed about playing that team. They did everything they could to lose that game at the end. And by everything they could, I mean CJ McCollum absolutely blew up the Kings with shot making. It was incredible what he did. But in the end, Malik Monk gets the steal. They get out of there with a win. I don't care how it happened. They are there. The Niners last night, we're going to talk about that. Maybe give you a couple of different thoughts on it. Going to go a couple of different places that everybody is not. And also, like I said, horsing around with the NFL. We've got that coming up here in a little bit. If you are not familiar with that segment, it's pretty cool. You know that haunted horse dude? Yeah, he comes on talking about some football, usually honks his show. Also gives you some exotic parlays. Well, he picks games now against the spread versus my son, 10-year-old, who has no idea about football. Just for a reference point, the first week we did this, Liam won, and it was over 500. Last week, they tied. This week, we'll see what it's going to be. Horsing around with the NFL coming up in a little bit. Definitely have plenty of Kings. We've got our WWE segment, I think. Adam, let me know. You got the link if we're going to do that. And much more. Also, Grant, he's going to be here 8 o'clock tonight. Lots to talk about in Northern California. We could do this show for probably the next 8 hours if we wanted to. But I'm going to get into some other things. LeBron James, what's going on there? Is LeBron going to be back with the team? Is he not going to be back with the team? And why does that matter to Sacramento? I think most of you know the answer to that. And no, it's not about LeBron coming to Sacramento, although I've seen some people that watch this show, Dennis, put trades together proposing a LeBron James trade. Yeah, Dennis, the Lakers are going to take everything we don't want for LeBron James, Kevin Herter, Trey Lyles, making the salary work. I guess if it works, it is a trade. You could propose it. Worst they could say is no. But join Grant again, 8 o'clock tonight. Grant almost put the curse on the Kings. So the final score ends up being 111-109 for Sacramento. And by the way, Mike Brown was added again last night. We'll talk about that. You will hear that. But we're doing the halftime show last night. And towards the end of the halftime show, we always give our picks. And or we give our final score predictions, I should say. And so I said the final score was going to be 111-106 Kings, but I said I didn't have a good feeling about it. So I got the Kings score right. It was 111. Jerry said that it was going to be 112-106 Pelicans. So he got the Pelicans really close. He was 1 point off the Kings. And then Grant said the Kings are going to lose, and it's going to be because of a CJ McCollum 3. Like CJ is going to go off, right? And so as the game's cruising along in the second half, you think it's going to be like a 9-10 point victory. And then McCollum hits a 3. Then he hits a miracle running shot while fouled by Fox. And it's like, here we go. So he put it into the universe, and it almost happened. Regardless, the Kings win. We'll talk about that. And now you got Denver coming up. They play tonight against the Clippers. We're going to pay attention to that game, but I am looking ahead at the schedule a little bit. Those that have been watching the programming here on the channel, you know what I'm looking ahead to. It's those two matchups with the Lakers. Those are going to be massive, massive matchups. Let's hit the chat. I did not look at the chat yet, so I hope this is clean. Adam, what's up, my man? Tristan, how you doing on a Friday? We beat Nope. It's either Nope or NOLA. There you go. BJ, what's up, brother? How are you? Beamsters. Yes, the beam is lit until Monday. It's a Kings duo back to 500. Now build on it. Yeah, they've won 3 games in a row. Building's cursed, dude. Did you guys hear Mark Jones and Katie talking? They didn't know that they were on the air, and they had hot mics before they came back from the break, and they're like, they just need to move the people down because honestly, the first half of the game, looking at the arena, and not so much the arena, but the amount of people in the arena, the way that it was scattered, it felt like a G League game. That is the energy and the feel of a lot of G League games. Not really Stockton. Stockton shows up and shows out for the Kings down there, but it was a weird vibe, and it always is. And then the playoffs come around, and it's kind of like a normal vibe at G1C in that building when it's the playoffs. But regardless, they took care of their business. I will say this: the on-ball defense in the first half was absolutely horrendous. Some of the worst on-ball defense I have seen in a long time from Sacramento, and that is saying a lot. But, you know, I do have to grade it on a curve for this reason. New Orleans has guys 1 through 5 that can put the ball on the court. So in many ways, it's the Kings' worst nightmare. If I look at half of the teams that are right now positioned to make the playoffs or the play-in, I could probably pick out 4 teams that I would rather play than New Orleans, even with New Orleans' current health situation and with all of their major guys out, just because of the way the guys match up. They're athletic as hell. They're physical as hell. You saw Sabonis take a beating as well as a couple of guys. Horse, wait a bleeping minute. I won the first week. He won the second week. Did you win the first week? No, you did. Oh, did you win the first week? You're right. Okay. You guys each won a week. That's right. And you tied this week. My bad. Thank you for clearing the record. My bad, Horse. Appreciate you. See, LBJ needs some time. There's some wild speculation going on about LeBron and things off the court. It's nothing that, I mean, it's the internet, the Twitter, X, wherever you frequent, TikTok. misinformation's there, but it's interesting. It's very interesting. Let's put it this way. It's believable. And when I say it's believable, it's plausible. You could see where that stuff could make sense, but it's way out there. And I put nothing into it, but it's only feeding the machine with what's going on with the Lakers and what's going on with LeBron. And does LeBron want to be in Golden State? I think Sam Amick talked very well about the challenges to LeBron leaving Los Angeles that have nothing to do with the basketball court. So we'll talk some more about that. Adam is ready. He's doing his. Love it. Sweet. We will get to that later in the show. Tristan, LBG, and Bronny coming for Fox Monks. Oh, stop it. Tristan. Let's not do that, Tristan. Tristan, if that happened actually, I'll pose it to all of you. Would you be opposed to LeBron James being on this team? I'll let you answer the question. Now, the Bronny part, I actually might like the Bronny part more than I like the LeBron part. Let the kid develop in Stockton. Stockton's got one of the best developmental systems in collaboration with Sacramento in the G League, hands down. But my initial thoughts, Tristan,
now, mommy, daddy button.
I just don't really like it. I don't. Yeah, LeBron for Alex Len. Not happening. Let's see. Chili Dog. Chili Dog's in the house. What's up, Chili Dog? LeBron's for a bag of chips. Yeah, I think it might be a little bit more expensive than that. No LeBron to the Warriors. BJ opposed to LeBron or Al, who has his own call-in line. By the way, you can call the show 916-822-9485. I know one day, it's not going to be this day because I just gave you the right number. I might accidentally give out my cell phone number. I hope that does not happen. Yeah, John, I'm kind of with you. I mean, here's the thing. If the Kings were like at that point where they were like teetering right over the edge of a championship, maybe LeBron for a year, maybe half a year, all-star break to the end of the season. But outside of that, dude, I think you call it right, John.
That don't make no sense.
I'm not opposed, though. I really am not opposed. Good job, producer. Sounding that up. John requested it. You had it right there. I'm not opposed to Bronny, though. But it's not Bronny coming to play for Sacramento with the main team. It's developing down in the G League. Is it a low-risk play? I don't know. Usually a second rounder like that doesn't have a 4-year contract. Or he's an undrafted free agent. That's what he should have been. I know he's a second-round pick. But if you take a step back, that's where his skill level is at. Belichick let's see. Sag Black. Okay. Sag Black Rose. What's up, Grandpa James? No, thank you. You do not even, let's see. You not even for training equipment. There you go. Good take. DSC Bronny would be all right. Yeah. See, I'm not as opposed to this kid. I'm not as opposed. I'm not going to talk about him here. And I know it's like, why'd you even bring it up? But there's a lot of speculation that, Bron's world is a little bit crazy right now. And I think I would just leave it at that. His world off the court. LeBron has a lot of business dealings. He's got his own production company, etc. So he is spread pretty thin. I mean, basketball, while it's his signature, it's what's brought him to the dance. It's what he's known for the best. That's just one segment of what LeBron does right now. Think about everything else this guy's got his hands in. Now you talk about possibly wanting to own an NBA team, et cetera, et cetera. So, Chili Dog LeBron's wants Curry carry him again, just like the Olympics. Yeah. Belichick about to find his next ex-girlfriend. I do have Bill Belichick. I do have some Bill content, but I don't know if we'll get there. I wouldn't say find his next girlfriend. I was going to say send his girlfriend to college for free, but close enough, Adam. I see where you're going. I think it's hilarious that the entire world thought, like, oh my gosh, Bill Belichick to college. Did you hear him on the Pat McAfee show? It's going to be so different. In fact, we're talking about it. Why don't we just hit it right now? And then we'll get to I've got thoughts, and hopefully it's a little bit fresh because I'm sure you've been consuming it most of the day. But Devondre Campbell, what are we thinking? So everybody's talking about the walkout, the ultimate sin, breaking the most important rule within the brotherhood. But I've got a little bit of a different take on it that makes it 2 times worse. No way to know for sure if I'm right, but I think it's going to be hard for any of you to tell me I'm wrong when we get to that. So a lot of that with the Niners when we talk about that. We'll probably hit some of that with Haunted Horse when he comes on again. We do have Liam's picks, by the way. We did a Santa train today. We went out. Shout out to I'll say their names. I think it was Fox Trail Trains or something like that, where they put on this whole Santa event. You've got a car basically to yourself or a couple of tables in a car, and Santa comes through. It was a lot of fun, but Liam is sugared up. And in fact, Liam did his picks right there on the spot. So you're going to get some background noise. You're going to get some background noise from the train when we listen to Liam's picks. So let's talk about Belichick really quick, and then we'll get into the Kings and obviously the 49ers and the segments we talked about, horsing around with the NFL and also WWE. We'll be talking about them here in a little bit. So Bill Belichick, it is official. He is the next coach at UNC. I promise you, if you're not here for Belichick, this will take 3 or 4 minutes and we're moving on. He's the new coach at UNC. We've talked about it. A surprise to many that he's heading to college. I can only think about what these recruiting discussions are going to be like with parents because, you know, usually these college parents and these kids, they pick guys with big personalities, coaches that almost become like their second dads, their second families, right? Well, you've got this grandpa who's a mumbler and sometimes doesn't make all this sense in the world. Certainly not up with social media. He calls Snapchat Snap Face, and then he laughs about it. But he was on the Pat McAfee show before this was officially announced, which I found interesting, right? But what he had to say turned a lot of heads. Here's what he said on the Pat McAfee show. If the sound drops are going to load, producer, also Rhino, here we go.
If.
Yeah.
If I was in a college program, the college program would be a pipeline to the NFL for the players that had the ability to play in the NFL. It would be a professional program, training, nutrition, scheme, coaching, techniques that would transfer to the NFL. It would be an NFL program at a college level and an education that would get the players ready for their career after football, whether that was the end of their college career or at the end of their pro career. But it would be, geared toward, developing the player, time management, discipline, structure, and all that. That would be life skills, regardless of whether they're in the NFL or in somewhere in business. And I feel very confident that I have the contacts in the National Football League to pave the way for those players that would have the ability to have the opportunity to compete in the National Football League. Whether they're good enough or not, I don't know, but they would be ready for it. I don't have any doubt about that. So, that would be the first comment that I would make, relative to the structure of the program. It would be an NFL program, but not at the NFL level.
Yeah, which is quite
interesting. And Pat McAfee goes on to be like, man, I bet every ex-NFL player with a son right now that plays football is going to be calling you. What an innovative idea. A pro program at the college level that teaches NFL techniques, nutrition, similar to that of the NFL, preparation for both in the NFL and outside of the NFL in the real world. I'm sorry, isn't that every single Division 1 major college football program, Bill? What is different? That is what every program preaches, Bill. And I get you come with a dynasty, you come with a ton of rings, you coached Brady, or did Brady coach you? Anyways, what I'm saying, Bill, is that is the target of every college program right now. That is exactly the sales pitch that anybody being recruited by a major college program gets. Real fresh take on running a college program, Bill. I mean, have you looked at Alabama's health program that they do? Like, Bill, you've got to be kidding me with that. And UNC, if that's the pitch, who the hell have you been interviewing before him? I don't get it. He had a great coach there before, too. But, Bill, give me a break here, my man. Like I said, short segment. I just had to say that. Pat McAfee, I like the guy, but it's every college program. Just like DSC says, it's every program. So they were last year. This year, they did not have a good year. Mac Brown ended up, it was a weird situation around Mac Brown because they announced like halfway through the season that he was not coming back, but he would coach the rest of the season, which is not normal. And your guy, Bill Belichick, the hoodie, he better get working right now because that transfer portal just opened up. So it really interesting what they're doing at UNC. Hey, you in all seriousness, I give Bill a ton of credit. This guy is wins away from the NFL record for wins as a head coach, and he's going to college. I think that's kind of cool. So, Bill, I will give you that, but you might want to freshen up your take on what a college program should be. You might want to come with some new ideas other than what everybody is doing right now. Like, Bill, you just acted like you have the most innovative offensive idea in basketball. In game one, you roll out a pick and roll. That's really what that is, Bill. So can I call you Bill? I know that you're a Super Bowl winning coach. You're a legend. Probably will go down in the likes of Landry, etc., Lombardi. But Bill, my man. Let's see, DSC, and then we'll move off of it. I think a big problem with sports and sports marketing is the lack of attention to the athlete. Interesting. The athlete makes the program work. Coaching and player development is very overemphasized, in my opinion. Yeah, that's interesting because I've been around a big program, not football, but basketball. That's an interesting take. Very interesting there. So anyways, we're going to do horsing around with the NFL at about 2:45. We're going to talk some Kings first because that is our top story. Which way do you guys want to go? Where do you want to go? I will let you guys choose in the chat. Do you want to go Kings first or do you want to go Niners first? Let's go Kings because we can mix in the Niners with horsing around unless anybody objects because I've got some strong thoughts on Campbell walking out on his teammates. And hopefully, like I said, they are a little bit different than what you've been listening to for the last 18 hours. By the way, we're brought to you by Bennett's Westside Grill in Rockland. Did you know? Weekend brunch this weekend. Get out there. By the way, Mike Brown, he was at it again. You guys aren't going to believe this sound. Anyways, Bennett. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Get out there for weekend brunch all 3 locations in the greater Sacramento area will be serving brunch in addition to prime rib this weekend. If you want to make it out for happy hour today, not too late, Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 o'clock, go to Bennett's Restaurants.com for more information. We'll talk about more Bennett's later in the show, but a huge thanks to them for sponsoring today's episode of the King's Court. So the Kings break the curse in NOLA. Finally, they get a W, 111-109 on the back of really 2 bipolar halves. A very hard game to watch. Not a very good performance by the Kings other than the third quarter, which I'm not going to come down and hammer them for that, because whether you believe it or not, this team, this matchup, whether they're healthy or not, is just a difficult one for Sacramento. They're just more athletic than the Kings. Simply put, they are a more athletic team. And the fact that the Kings came off 3 days rest, ended up shooting for the game 30.3% from beyond the 3-point line, I am actually satisfied with that. You know why? Because coming into this game, the Kings were only shooting 20% from the 3-point line on 3 days rest. The star of this one was obviously Domantas Sabonis. What do you say about this dude? Domantas is just a machine. So he has a massive game, 21 rebounds, 32 points. Really, a guy I said coming into the game, he could really abuse Yves Missi down low, really could. And not only he did, but the rest of the team did to a degree. Missi was all over the damn place. But CJ McCollum almost pulled this one out in the end, got a little too tight for comfort. But like I said, that 6-game streak is over. The Kings win. Coach Brown, after the game,
our guys just found a way to win. 23 second chance points obviously were huge for us. Keegan, 6 offensive rebounds. Domas, 7 offensive rebounds. Fox, 3 offensive rebounds. I mean, we obviously needed every single one of those rebounds. With 19 offensive rebounds, the way we were shooting that basketball, and 23 second chance points, it was just huge for us. I thought, and you give New Orleans credit, but I thought of
course, the give New Orleans credit line. Yeah, get it. DeMar DeRozan absolutely went nuts in the third quarter. DeMar DeRozan scored 14 points in a span of less than 3 minutes. The bench wouldn't tell you this by the statistics. Kevin Huerter, 7 points, 2 points for Keon Ellis. But the bench had a stronger showing than most people think. Thought Keon gave the Kings really good minutes. Kevin, although not scoring, gave him good minutes. And I can't believe I'm going to say this. Colby Jones, I said it last night on the postgame show. Colby defensively gave the Kings some good minutes. Coach Brown.
it looked like we were playing in mud there for a while. Man, DeMar, when we needed a spurt, gave us a spurt. He hit big shot after big shot after big shot. After possession, 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 after possession. He hit big shot after big shot after big shot. After possession, after possession, after possession, after possession.
This is becoming a trend with Coach Brown. Should we be worried about this? He gave us 3 big shots and how many after possessions on that one? So, Coach, pretty happy with the performance. I was too, for the most part, because it's a victory. I'm not going to knock this team for getting back to 500. The same issues, in fact, maybe worst issues defensively on the ball showed up last night. The same help from the strong side, leaving shooters in the corner, showed up last night. But the bottom line is there's nothing to pick apart in this game other than that the Kings got back to 500. They got the monkey off their back. They've done that now 2 times this season with teams that had beat them, swept them last season. The Rockets swept all 4. Kings got the first one this year. New Orleans swept 6 last year. Kings get the first one this year. Coach Brown again last night.
You know, one of the things we talked about at halftime, we had 9 assists at halftime, and we didn't feel like we were playing the way that we were capable of offensively. The ball wasn't moving. We weren't touching the paint and spraying it. And I thought the second half, we took it to another level. Malik by himself had 9 assists in the second half, which was huge. Foxy ended up with 8 assists. That was big.
Yeah, the assists were weird. So Malik Monk, I'm telling you, watch him continue to shoot up. And what we're looking at is the Kings stats for the season. We're going to keep looking at these as we're listening to sound, and I'm kind of breaking it down for you. But Malik Monk, he's going to continue shooting up the NBA leader list in assist to turnover possession. Last night, 2 turnovers, 9 assists. Now, he didn't give you much scoring, 5 points, but that was all right. It was enough to get by last night. Malik played 34 minutes for you. Coming into last night's game, Malik Monk's assist to turnover ratio was 3.75, good enough for 16th in the NBA. Think about that, 16th in the NBA, yet this guy was not starting until 6 games ago. Coach Brown.
Obviously, the guy that carried us through most of the night and did the yeoman, is it yeoman or yeoman, Yeoman? Is that a word? Can you Google it real quick? Yeoman? Am I saying it right? Yeoman? You don't know? So we're going to go with it for now. Yeoman? Okay, well, I appreciate it. What's your name? Tyler, thanks for the help. Tyler says we're going to go with it for now. So yeoman's work.
Coach Brown, where do you want to start with that? Now, I don't give him a hard time for stumbling on the word and asking for clarification. But then asking somebody to Google it during a press conference, and then at the end, say, thank you. What's your name? And the person gives you their name, and you say his name wrong?
Right, yeoman. You don't know? So we're going to go with it for now. Yeoman? Okay, well, I appreciate it. What's your name? Tyler, thanks for the help. Tyler says we're going to go with it for now. So yeoman's work.
It's David Tyler. Oh, okay. Tyler, thanks for the help. So some lighter moments in that post game. Coach Brown talked about the revolving door at the center position, and that is my little nagging concern. It's something that's not going to be answered, nor is it something that I guess I have a major problem with. But we're going to play 3 different centers and see what sticks at the wall is going to catch up with this team. And I get Coach Brown is in a very difficult position. I think Grant laid that out very nicely. He really doesn't have much of a choice. But when you see a team like Denver, as we get deeper into the season, something needs to get more consistent, cemented around that center position. Showing guys different players isn't always a bad thing. But in this case, it's not necessarily the best thing. And the way that I separate those two for you is when you see a guy like Anthony Edwards come into the G1C, you see some of these stars, Steph Curry, come into the G1C, right? You want to show them different defenders. That's why you'll see Fox on that guy sometimes. That's why you'll see Keegan. That's why you'll see Keon. What do those guys all have in common? They're really good defenders. They're really good in different ways, but they're all really good defenders, right? So showing different looks can be a good thing, okay? Tell me this. What do Orlando Robinson, Isaac Jones, and Alex Len have in common? What do they have in common? They're all centers. Okay. What else do they have in common? They're all 6'8" or taller. Okay. What else do they have in common? They're all different, dramatically different. Name one strength that all 3 of them do well. And I'm not knocking them. I think there's a huge upside on Isaac. I think there's a decent, well, he's a lot more raw and a lot more green there could be something there with Orlando. Orlando needs to get more seasoning down in the G League, but Mike Brown's being forced to play Orlando. So keep an eye on what Mike's going to do with this center thing and how it continues. He said it's going to be by committee. It's not a surprise. He said it the day before the game, before they left for New Orleans, but something definitely to pay attention to. But all in all, the Kings win 111-109. We'll talk about it more here in a little bit. We'll talk about the Kings some more in a little bit, talk about the Western Conference as well. So give me your thoughts on last night's shot blockers. I don't think, well, yeah, okay. Good job, Dennis, shot blocker. Well, I don't put Orlando in that boat. I don't. Orlando can block a shot, but he's not a shot blocker. Isaac and Alex, they're shot blockers. I can make that jump. Getting stuff off the top of the refrigerator without a ladder, DSC. There you go. That's a good one, DSC. Let's see. Len played more minutes than Isaac Jones. He did. Mike went with him longer. He played 1 more minute than Isaac Jones. Len played 6. Orlando played 3. Isaac played 5. What's that tell me? Coach, at this stage, is going to go with the guy who he thinks is going to be the best matchup for the opponent. That's who's going to come off the bench first most nights. Until Isaac has a few more really solid performances, that's the way I think it's going to be. But Isaac could eventually be that guy. I think Coach Brown's made it pretty clear. He wants Isaac to be that guy. But if that guy's not working, whoever has the best matchup or he thinks matches up the best with that center that game, then it's going to be this. It's going to be, oh, is that guy playing well tonight? Not really. Okay, let's try this. Oh, well, he's got 2 fouls. Okay, let's go back to it's what it's going to be. So, thank you, Al. Thank you for clearing it up for Mike Brown.
After possession, after possession, after possession, after possession, after.
Maybe that's the first thing that came to mind. Other than that, what do they do? Maybe they get better at pick and rolls. Well, okay. And we're going to do horsing around with the NFL here in just a second. In fact, let's go to Alex really quick while I answer this. That's the problem. So you got Alex Len doing pick and rolls, and then you've got Orlando Robinson doing it looks like Orlando's doing more DHOs than pick and rolls. So it's a good conversation to have. And like I said, there's no answers to it. There's not a wrong answer or right answer, but it's something to monitor. Alex, what's up today, buddy?
What's going on, Ryan? How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good. I'm enjoying a half day, so it's been pretty easy today. But I did want to talk to you in a bit, so I wanted to catch up on a little bit of Kings. I am happy that we're back to 500, but you did make some good points about they're missing players, playing bad teams, whatever. It's the NBA. It is what it is. But I mainly wanted to ask you, what do you think of the whole backup center by committee thing? So I'm not a real big fan of it. But what's your thoughts on that?
You just got my take on it. I think none of us are a huge fan of it, and I think that includes Coach Brown.
Yeah.
But that's the position the Kings are in. I think Grant did a great job of, demonstrating and laying that point out last night.
Okay, I might have to go check that show out last night. Now I have a couple of Kings group chats, and we're always just throwing out ideas. I'm in the minority too, but I'm still a heavy believer in trying to trade for Valanciunas, even though I know him and Sabonis won't really work together. But we already had an issue of playing our main players 35, 40 minutes a game, which is gonna be pretty crazy towards playoffs if we make it to playoffs. I don't know. I feel like Valanciunas, he's not young by any means. So if he plays 15, 16 minutes a game, Sabonis plays 32. I don't see why that would be terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in my opinion on possible trade targets and different guys that the Kings may look at or try to get has been, I've taken a step back from it, Alex, now that the Kings are playing a different style the last 6 games. So like Valanciunas, if we would have said that name last year, if we would have said that name through 10 games this year, I would have been like, okay, you know, I see it. He can do some DHO. He can spread the floor. He can pass. But now the Kings are going away from the DHO as they should. And so I don't know how great of a pick and roll player he is, because that's going to be the guy that you want to have now. Like, I know this is a sexy name. Jerry and I are all in on this guy, and we said it at the same time. I didn't even know this. He was doing 1140 show, and I was doing my show couple days ago. John Collins, that's the guy that would be so perfect for what the Kings are doing right now, should that style of play continue.
Okay, so you brought up a good point that I said a couple of days ago in the chat, or on one of our chats. Again, got roasted for this, but I feel like when we put Monk in the starting lineup, it was because Herter wasn't really cutting it as a starting shooting guard who wouldn't make their open threes, had okay deflections and all that, but just wasn't cutting it as a starter, I think. Monk obviously is averaging 20 points a game as a starter. And I mean, that's what you expect out of a starter, I guess. To me, I feel like upgrading Keegan's spot would be super beneficial. Maybe for Keegan too. And again, he's great on defense, but I don't feel like he's consistent enough to be a starter on a really good team. Again, he's really good defensively, and that's great. Maybe because we lack defenders too, so he stands out a lot on our team. I'm not sure. But like, if let's say we plugged in, I'm not crazy about Kuzma anymore, but he's obviously a better offensive talent than Keegan. John Collins is a better offensive talent than Keegan, but Keegan's a way better defender than both of them. So I guess it just depends what you want. But I would be a big fan in upgrading Keegan's spot for like a starting spot, and then Keegan coming off the bench until he develops more, I guess.
I think the team loses way too much defensively. You can't.
Okay.
He's so, what he did to Larry Marketing the other night, incredible.
That was good.
Here's a thought, everybody. Maybe Keegan Murray, and this isn't just targeted at you, Alex. It's not targeted at you at all. He's a young dude. He's still in his 3rd year. Maybe Keegan Murray is going to turn out to be more like a Thabo Sefalasha, where he's a great defender and he just doesn't score a lot. There's a really good place in the NBA for guys like that. Maybe he's not closer to, and this is not a good comp, but like a Jason Tatum, where you've got a taller, longer scoring, 4 or 5. Like, no. So I don't know what to do with Keegan. All I do know is if you take him out defensively, this whole thing, the Kings being 10th or whatever they were coming into the game in defensive rating, gone. Like, kiss it goodbye.
No, for sure. But I do think a game like last night really highlights that we're so lacking athleticism and size, because yesterday was a way different team than the Pelicans team we were used to playing from last year. And they still like out athleticized us. You know what I mean? Like, even with, I guess, a lack of better term, just putrid version of what they had with their bigger, more talented guys, they still gave us all kinds of trouble. So I mean, we just need some size, athleticism. We've been talking about this for years, I know, but I feel like that highlighted it big time. And they still almost beat us, which is crazy. We're pretty much at full strength and still struggling with that.
I don't disagree. Sorry, I'm laughing because Adam says, I need to do my hair when you come on, and we need to have a hair off. Come on, Adam. Stop
That's
it, bro.
Good.
Anyway.
You know what? Is Adam still doing his podcast? I haven't caught up on anything. I've been very busy with work. Is he still doing it?
He is. He'll be around here in a little bit to talk.
Awesome. I'm gonna check his stuff out. We're gonna get on winter break real soon, so I'll have more time to chat with you guys and to catch up on other podcasts.
For sure. Alex, appreciate you, brother.
You guys have a good day.
Be well. Good stuff from Alex, kicking it off. All right, we got horsing around with the NFL. Not yet. Oops. Didn't mean to hit him yet. Coming up in just 2 minutes. I want to hit this first, though. Dennis says, I think Keegan will be fine. I think he's coming around. I'm more concerned about the bench going 9 points. All right. Here's the reality of this bench. And I think it would probably be the same way even if this bench was a little bit better. This team is top heavy. The Kings are top heavy. Their first 7 is pretty damn good when they're healthy. Their first 7. Those guys are going to get the majority of the minutes. And the way that Mike Brown is splitting up the starters' rest, this is still going to be a starters team. This team was never built to have a second bench unit like the Kings back in the day did, the bench mob. This team's never been built that way. And I don't think even at the trade deadline, this team's going to be built that way either. What you need from the bench, you're going to get nights where you get a Kevin Huerter night like he had against Utah. You're going to have nights where you get a Keon Ellis night where he goes 8 and 9 from beyond the arc. Those will be sprinkled in. But if they can do what they did last night, seriously, last night was good enough. That's what I think everybody needs to realize. As crazy as that sounds, I know you look at the points, and that's what Dennis is looking at. I'm looking at everything else. Everything else, other than the scoring, got them over. The bench for this team, their one job is to maintain or hold whatever the starters build with their 5 minutes on the court. Because you're always going to have 2 starters on the floor at any time, sometimes 3. So can you plug people in? Again, look at the minutes. Other than Kevin and Keon, and I think those 2 are solid. I do. Look at the minutes. Alex Len, 6. Orlando, 3. Isaac Jones, 5. Colby, 5. Right? That is what Mike Brown is seeing. And I don't, with what he has to work with, I don't necessarily disagree with it. So if they're not scoring, I'm not going to panic. It needs to be better than 9 points. Give you that. Needs to be better than that. But it was still good enough. And it can be good enough in a lot of nights. Now, against your high-level teams, debatable. So we'll get back to the Kings in a little bit, talk about them more. One thing that is certainly not debatable in these parts is that Bennett's West Side Grill, their newest location, is probably my favorite out of the 3. Beautiful new place in Rockland, located in the Blue Oaks Town Center. I know many of you have hit up one of their 3 locations in the greater Sacramento area. Thank you for supporting us and supporting them like they have supported If You Don't Like That. Prime cuts of seafood and steak. Love the redfish. Love the New York prime. Somebody in the chat said, I think it was Elvis, it said the meatloaf. He discovered that secret. We haven't talked about that on the show. Meatloaf's off the charts. Everything is off the charts. And by the way, it's affordable too. It really is. There's specials that they have during the week. Don't be fooled. Happy hour, 2 to 6 o'clock, Monday through Friday. Affordable. Sips and tastes, what they call them. 60 different wines by the glass. Weekend brunch on the weekends. 2 entrees, bottle of champagne, under $50. Dude, you can't even get out of McDonald's for under $25 for 2 people. And on Mondays, Monday Wine and Dine, 2 bottles or 2 entrees. Well, maybe they'll do 2 bottles of wine and 1 entree if you're lucky. I don't know. Got to ask Brian and the team, but 2 entrees and a bottle of wine under $70. What I'm saying is get out to Bennett's. Make sure that you go to bennettsrestaurants.com. You can make reservations there. You can put it in your to-go orders now. And think about this. If you are going to be having any type of gathering, holiday party, New Year's, whatever, and you're going out, Bennett's has beautiful private dining rooms. You can reserve those. They'll set them aside. You can have your own private, intimate space. Same great food. And all the rooms, by the way, they have different vibes. Love it. So they'll set those aside for you. Same great food, same great service. Bring your appetite too. Portion sizes are big. That is one of my favorites. And thank you for supporting them, all of you. They go out there. Let them know you heard about them here on the show. That is Bennett's West Side Grill that we're talking about. But bennettsrestaurants.com. You can find all 3 of their locations in the greater Sacramento area. Fridays, not just Kings. We have a little bit of fun. If you haven't been paying attention the last few weeks, we decided, since Haunted Horse comes in here and he is so polarizing for many of you, talking football, that we were going to pit my 10-year-old son, Liam, against Haunted Horse in picking the games against the spread. So they only pick the Sunday and Monday games, but they are against the spread. Horse has won a week. Liam has won a week. And last week they tied. So the winner has been, everybody has been right around 500, by the way. I do want to say that if you lost, you were just either one game under 500 or at 500. So it's surprising that both of them are picking so well. We were doing our little Santa train thing earlier today, which was a lot of fun. Kid got sugared up. I mean, they give you hot chocolate, they give you cookies, everything you can imagine. But Liam and I did our picks while on the Santa train. The one, the only Haunted Horse joins us for horsing around with the NFL.
What's up?
What's up,
I'm usually
dude?
really loud. How loud am I?
You're loud. I got you, though.
I'm always loud.
Yes, you are. What's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Great. Happy Friday. How are you?
Looking at you, and you got this big logo on your face. There we go.
Yeah, it's moving.
There we go. I like that better. Yes. Life is good. What's up?
Life is very good.
Yeah. Anyway, where do you want to go?
Well, I mean,
not to produce your show.
we should talk about last week, man. Well, we're gonna mix in some Niners here. We're gonna iron this out. Since you are a Niners fan, a lot of you are Niners fans, so we're gonna hit that with Horse here as well. But dude, last night, thoughts. I'll give it to you, Niners fan.
My thoughts are this. I was the first Niner fan to hit the ejection cord and bail out on the year. I did it in week 3. Remember this. I did it in week 3. I'm like, it's over. And that's when McCaffrey wasn't going to play. Tendonitis in both Achilles. I figured he would be out for the year. They did get him in there for 3 or 4 games, and now he's out on IR. And why rush him back now? The season's over. I bailed in 3, and then we had 2 guys on our defensive line. We had 2 guys on the offensive line, and then Trent Williams is down. Ayuk out for the year. I was already done week 3. I said, you know what? It's going to be a lost year, and it did exactly what I said it was going to do. Plane crash. They did not pull out of it. They're slamming into the mountain. It's over. And so the Bears week, I mean, we beat the Bears. Oh, that's hard. They looked really good against the Bears. Big deal. Everyone looks good against the Bears. So to me, it hasn't been really a painful season past week 5 because I was already like, there's no Super Bowl this year. There's no playoffs this year, maybe a wild card. And then as the season went on, I knew that wasn't going to happen. So
okay, so take me here though, because Niner fan before the season, before people started getting hurt in the summer between the draft and training camp, like it was, this is our year. Like you guys were booking rooms.
We've put all our pieces in together. We're in this window. We got Brock Purdy for 1 more year on the rookie deal. This is it. This is the year we're going to win the ring. And yeah, McCaffrey was telling. I made a lot of money on that, by the way, because I was paying attention closer to than the bettors. And when he didn't show up in week 1, I had already bet on Mason. And I had all my bets stacked, and I made a lot of money because everyone was betting him. And so I had Mason for multiple touchdowns. Anyway, when like I said, I don't know. I had tendonitis in my elbow, and it still bothers me. It doesn't go away. It just stays there. So I figured he was lost for the year. When he came back, I was shocked. But
yeah, well,
so I just look, I just start. I think the point where things started to wobble a little bit is Ayuk. I actually wanted them to trade him. I was upset when the Steelers trade last minute got pulled because Shanahan talked to him and said, look, we've got a deal in place. We are trading you. And he goes, no, I'll take your final offer. and he stayed, I'm like, oh, that is a lot of money for that guy. And because he held out all summer, he and Purdy were not on the same page and dropping balls in the wrong position.
Oh, but dude, don't worry. He was catching balls through trees. That's way better than getting work with Brock Purdy.
He was practicing with the forest.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
there's
way
the
better.
forest. There's the linebacker tree and the defensive tackle tree. There's the cornerback tree. I'm going to run it, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that was a bust right there. We paid a lot of money for a player that did nothing.
Ooh,
Nothing.
that was a strong nothing. You guys are great. You're so great. I got to get that drop. Well
Ah,
played,
Milo!
Tristan. Well played, DSC.
Anyway, that was the start.
So
of
well
it.
played.
Him showing up in week 1 and 2 and being a freaking invisible man out there and missing balls where Purdy's throwing him and he's 3-4 yards away from where the ball's supposed to be because he read the, just a freaking mess. So that started it. McCaffrey not being there week 1. And I was already checked out by week 3, week 4. I'm like, we're done. We're done.
So
anyway,
I thought if
that's
they
Niner
won,
fan.
I thought whoever won last night would win the division. And that's coming from a Seattle fan. Seattle's got a tough road home.
Right.
In that last week, I'm telling you, Seattle, go back and look. I don't have the stats in front of me. They always blow the last week games that can put them in the playoffs.
Right.
That could change. They did it a couple of years ago, and Green Bay got in. Or Green Bay did Green Bay get in? No, that was when the Lions beat Green Bay. Not to
we
get
knocked
in,
you
and
out
Seattle
of the
got in.
playoffs one year. You guys ended up in
No.
you guys won a game against somebody, and then we knocked you out. That was
No,
like 2 or 3
we
years
didn't
ago.
win a game. What happened was Seattle lost, and if Green Bay would have won, Green Bay was going to be in the playoffs. If Seattle would have won, they would have been in the playoffs because they had the tiebreaker. Seattle lost. Green Bay lost to Detroit at home. It was Aaron Rodgers' last game at Lambeau. So Seattle backed in via the tiebreaker to the playoff spot to play you guys.
But I thought we had a bye that year. Didn't we? Didn't maybe? No, we didn't. We weren't. We were like a 3 seed or something.
So anyway,
all right. Anyway, So
okay, so let's talk really quick about last night. I thought that the winner would probably win the division. Looks like it's going to be the Rams. But here's the question that I want to ask. I don't think anybody's asking this question. Everybody's like, Brock Purdy. Are the Niners? How much are the Niners going to pay him? We got to re-sign Brock Purdy. What if Brock Purdy doesn't want to What if Brock Purdy doesn't want to re-sign with the Niners?
Oh, he would be silly not to, because he understands he needs weapons. He is not Tom Brady with a tight end and where he can improvise.
What weapons?
But that's the thing. What did he have last year? And he looked amazing. What did he have this year as they started dropping off? He looks pedestrian. That's the thing. He's starting to realize, oh crap, I need a loaded team to benefit me.
Okay, if we're
when
going
I don't have it, I'm horrible.
Okay, if we're going with that argument, Debo, who let's talk about, he could have won the game for the Niners last night.
Yeah, well,
this guy's crying out for extra balls. I know Bacon's gonna go get that somewhere.
Yeah.
But he wants the ball more. He gets the opportunity. Here was Debo after the game.
Was he just giving you words of encouragement?
At the end of the day, George is George. He came over. He was like, man, I've seen you make that play a million times. Don't let it eat you up. But I feel like I made that play. I think we won the game.
Kyle felt the same way.
I mean, yeah, that was a big one at the third down. And, with Debo's skill set, I would have been shocked if he didn't score on the play. So, everyone knows the answer to that. Debo, too, he needs to catch that ball. And then we were just off on that post down the field to Ricky right there, 2 plays before the interception. That could have been a big one, too.
So I know I'm ignoring Brock's big interception, but I guess what I'm saying, Debo seems to be a little bit on the way down. Ayuk doesn't seem to be getting any better. And maybe that was
from me looks slow and overweight. And I'm not going to say fat, but he is not lean. And you need to be lean. And I don't know if he gained weight thinking he was going to be running the ball more, because they were running him on sweeps and different things, and he bulked up
Fact.
that. Yeah, I mean, he looks slow. The drop ball has nothing to do with him being slow. He just dropped the ball. It was there.
But
He would have
Debo
scored.
Debo shows up like once every 5 games. At least he did this year. Okay, so let's
This
move
year.
on. Let's move on to Christian McCaffrey.
One more thing about Debo, real
Go
quick.
ahead.
When he posted that on Twitter, within 30 minutes of him posting it on Twitter, I actually commented on that thread as a 49er fan. And I said, posting this is a bad idea. That's all I said. I just said, this is not helping. When you're saying, I'm not getting the ball, I'm not, this is stuff that needs to stay in house. I just put bad idea to post this. And it was. And he's pulled it down since. Yeah. And a bad look after you're going to bitch. You better freaking grab that ball or die trying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've hit Debo, we've hit Ayuk, maybe Ayuk. Okay. So we're both on the same page. Ayuk is not a number 1 receiver. He's a great receiver. He's a great 2. He's a great 2 to another 1.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the guy, in my opinion.
What real quick. This happens in basketball too. This is applicable to NBA, football. Look at how many players in these sports, baseball, have these awesome years on the last year of their deal. They're fucking diving for loose balls, and they're doing this, and they're going against a safety, and they know they're going to get just crowned by reaching out for that ball, and they get the big deal. And what happens that next year? They drop off because it was all about them getting the deal. I've seen this everywhere. Not all players, but Ayuk falls into that category as far as I'm concerned. He was diving for balls and balling out and going head to head with safeties, and he got his money.
But he wasn't in a contract year. He was under contract.
He was in to me, the wide receiver position, because we've seen it now. Jamar Chase tried to do it 2 years out, but it seems like going into their last year is their negotiating year. It seems like if you're a star, look at CeeDee Lamb, they're all doing it the year before their last year. So in that case, you're correct. It wasn't the last year, but that's their bargaining year going into their last year. Whereas NBA with guarantee, with football not having guaranteed contracts, I think everything moves up 1 year. Because first of all, you can get knocked out and you're out of the money. So they feel forced to negotiate that 1 year earlier, because if they're in their last year and they rip their ACL or tear their Achilles, they ain't getting money. Whereas NBA, Major League Baseball, you're guaranteed a contract. So your last year is your negotiating year. In football, it seems like the stars get that 1 extra year.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's my point in a nutshell. Kittle too. He's getting older.
Right.
He's on the way down.
Right.
McCaffrey, couple of bad Achilles, whatever. Now he's dealing with. Was it a knee? It was like
knee was the one that put him on the IR.
PCL, I want to say.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm saying is, I guess I'm kind of leading
the window shut
to this. Like, what weapons for Brock Purdy?
I wouldn't say a rebuild, though, because in football, you can do it differently because you don't have guaranteed contracts. You still have the cap problem. But in football, you can do it through the draft. They traded for McCaffrey when they thought that the window had just opened. They wanted to go all in, and they traded for McCaffrey and whatever. But you can do it quicker in football. Even the Rams, we talked about this a couple of shows ago. The Rams that went all in and won, Sizzler. The Rams that went all in and won a Super Bowl, and they had traded and maxed out deals and screwed with their cap. They had a down year, or maybe a down year and a half, and they're already kind of on the upswing with the Puka Nacua. And so you can do it quicker, but I don't necessarily know a rebuild, but I think they've got a retool on the fly. They've got good pieces still. McCaffrey, the way I read that, and this came from his dad, Ed McCaffrey, he overtrained in the offseason, and those were self-inflicted injuries because he doesn't know when to stop. And so he was feeling pain. He's like, no pain, no gain. And he kept pushing through it. when tendonitis is tears in the tendon, little micro tears. You've got to stop and let those things heal.
But then you could go back to the organization not doing a physical.
Right. But then
when
I've
you extend
heard,
it.
because Jim Rome's got his former NFL player Will Blackman on there, and he says, you know what? Players do not have to see team doctors. I never did because I didn't trust them. They're looking out for the team and not the player. We always went outside and found our own medical staff.
It's the biggest unwritten conflict or unpublicized conflict going on in pro and college buildings. Maybe not as much college, but definitely pro buildings right now, is the players wanting to train with their own trainers,
right,
and trying to bring their trainers into team facilities, and the team wanting the players to train with their people.
Right.
So the doctor stuff I can't speak to, but the trainer stuff, that's a big clash,
It
because
was a big thing between Tom Brady and Gronk had their own trainer and they wanted him in-house and they booted that guy out.
it's a huge clash. So anyways, so you've got all that mess. The Niners are probably done this year.
Yes,
but
they
then Devondre Campbell. This dude, I will give you the first take. And I know probably every take is pretty much out there, and we're going to get to some audio here in a second. But as a Niners fan, what was that for you?
You know what I'll say with this? Just watching the interviews after the game with the Kittles and Ward, and hearing what's interesting is, and they asked Kyle Shanahan, are you losing the locker room? And he goes, no.
Yeah.
We had one guy that doesn't want to play football. I actually think that in this case, it's uniting the locker room. Now, it's not going to show up in this. They're already too far in the hole, but it's uniting the locker room because the locker room united with the coach to say, F that guy. He quit on his team. He quit on me, you, the coach, everybody. He quit. Get him out of here. And everybody, there was nobody sticking up for that guy in the postgame. Kittle was calling him stupid. They were calling him.
Bro, you're taking all my sound drops here.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
But my point is this: it actually united the locker room with the coach, and they had a common enemy that wasn't the Rams last night. It was that quitter.
So here's what Horse is talking about. And the reason I pulled this sound drop was not because of what Kyle says, but for those that don't know, getting a credential to be in the room and to be in the facility, Damon Bruce chronologues this so well because he was credentialed with the Warriors and had his taken away, I believe. But it's the most delicate dance one can play while trying to, depending on what you're doing, whether you're a journalist, whether you're a podcaster, whether you're a radio guy, TV guy, making sure that you're fulfilling your duties to your job and those that watch and listen to you, while also not disrespecting the team. And I could give you example after example. This is an example of how you lose your credential. Probably lost his credential before he left the building.
With Devondre opting to not go into the game, what do you need to do to ensure that you don't lose the rest of the locker room?
I haven't lost anybody. That's somebody who doesn't want to play football. That's pretty simple. I mean, I think our team and myself, we know how we feel about that. So I don't think we need to talk about him anymore.
So that was about the fifth question about Devondre. And so the way that he phrased it with the losing the locker room, that's going to get your credential ripped. But here's my point about Devondre. Quitting on your team, and it's been said across the board, and I can only go up to college because I've never been a pro player, but quitting on your team is the ultimate sin. It's like his career is probably over in the NFL. Think about what happened. I forget who it was. It was somebody for the Lions, or no, it wasn't. It was the Colts. It was somebody for the Colts. I think it was Richardson that pulled himself out because he was tired. Yes. And look at how big that turned into, right? And how he was going to have to earn respect back in. I don't need to break it down any further. Quitting on your team is the worst thing you could do. Ever, ever, ever. Now, what to me makes this 100 times worse, and I think Kittle kind of alluded to it, some of the other players alluded to it, about if you dress, you play. The reason is if you can't play, you're taking a spot from somebody that could play. Makes complete sense. Don't need to explain that. So, no way of proving it, but based off of what he did, how he did it, the fact that he had not been in the game, the fact that he lost his job, I don't think it's a big jump to say it was premeditated insubordination. This dude was in the locker room getting ready with the guys to go to war. Little did they know this guy was ready to stab them in the effing back. This dude was waiting for his moment to walk off the field. Now, we'll never know that. If he tells us that's what happened, so be it. But how can you explain it any other way? Like, think about it. This dude gets dressed with the guys. This guy goes through warm-ups. He's in the same huddles. That's go team, whatever your breakdown is. Well, all the time, this guy probably knows, oh, the second they call on me, screw them.
Well, you know why he did it, right? He had a reason.
Oh, what was his reason?
His reason is he lost his starting job because Dre Greenlaw came back, which is
But that's not a reason. That's yes.
I
know.
know. My point is he was pissed that he lost his
That's
job.
exactly.
So
that's
that was the catalyst. It wasn't like he was just waiting.
It doesn't matter
he
what
felt disrespected.
Wait
a minute.
That's okay.
I lost my job to one of the best players on the team,
brother. That's why I'm saying it was premeditated.
Well, right. I think
that's what I'm saying.
They
He
weren't
knew
sure
Greenlaw
was going to go that game. They weren't sure. So all week it's like we're not sure. We're making sure he's good. We're making sure he can handle the reps and everything else.
Know.
When he came out and started, that
They
guy
know.
got butt hurt. It was an emotional reaction to him being benched. I'm not
there-
saying
there's-
it's right. I'm just saying
okay.
that's what caused him to blow
but
a
in
gas
that
tank.
world, let's say we're in that world, then Campbell knows there's a good chance he's not starting that game.
If not that game, the next game. Pretty soon he's not going to start. Correct.
Exactly.
Yes.
He knows it's a coin
Yes.
flip whether he is going to start that
Right.
game
True.
or it's going to be Greenlaw. That's why I said this to me.
Right.
It could be the worst of the worst. Like as an athlete that's been any of you that have played high schools or played team or played club, whatever your group, if it got to that competitive level, like, and you formed a brotherhood, like that is like for me as somebody that hasn't played competitive sports in 25 years or 20 years, it's like
the same thing happens in the military, dude. I was in the Army and it's a teamwork. And when someone screws up, we all get punished. And so if you don't hold your weight, you're pulling everybody else down. So we all lean on each other to pull the weight. You've got to make sure your boots are polished right. Because if come by for an inspection and your boots are scuffed up, then we all have to go out and do push-ups.
And in that game too, the game that's gonna anyway.
And it was close.
And here's George Kittle, what Horst was talking about. And Horst, I agree with you that I think it galvanized them.
Leader on the team. And if that is something that is being a distraction on the sideline, I would love to voice my own opinion in the moment. And now we're past that moment, so it doesn't matter what I wish I could have said or wish I could have done. But I don't like distractions on the sideline. I think that's ignorant, and I think it's just dumb. It's just stupid. And it's very immature, and I just don't. I don't see how that's I just don't see how you can do something like that to to your team.
Like listening to some of these players, Horse. Like I felt like I was one of them in the locker room. Like I could feel like the awe shock, the jaw drop,
the backstab. That dude put a knife in our back when we needed him. He wasn't there. Yeah, they were mad.
I would be shocked.
And the game was within a touchdown. It wasn't a blowout where he's like, F this, I'm out of here. They were fighting to win the game and keep their season alive. And that game killed their season. They win that game, they're still within reach. Now they're too far back. And that guy, when they needed him, said, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And they got pissed. And I agree. BJ makes a good point.
No, okay, there is, but there's even another step, and that's what I'm trying to make. Like, if stuff's hard, like, okay, Bud's training, people quit all the time.
They quit. That's designed to make people quit.
Okay, I would say football is probably the most like that out of all the sports. They push their athletes to the brink as hard as you can, pain. Okay. There's one thing, and it's still the ultimate thing, quitting on your team. That's still bad, but like premeditated quitting, possibly.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna dress, I'm gonna be ready for this game. They think I'm gonna be there, and guess what? I'm gonna shove it to them then. Like,
BJ,
that's
my
just a
example with the
whole other
Army
level.
Was the boots being scuffed up, them knowing it and just not caring, versus if they fall out of a run because they're tired. That's another thing.
Right.
I'm talking about
100%.
them being lazy and not doing what they need to do, and we all got punished for it. Not they couldn't do something. It's that they didn't do something.
But okay, but still, even what I'm saying, and I agree, it's a good analogy, but what I'm saying is even worse, because not caring is one thing, but being vindictive.
Right.
And again, no way to prove that that's what he went into the game
lashing
thinking.
out at the coach, but he made his entire team angry. And I'm sure that he's got friends on the team, and they're like, dude, get away from me.
This dude's never going to play football again.
Yeah, he got cut today.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't make him walk directly from the tunnel to his car.
Yeah, and he's a vet, whether or not, he's got enough goodwill in the bank to find another team. I mean, that is bad.
No.
BJ had a good point, though. He says, this is the 21st century athlete. I'll say this, you definitely see this more now than when I watched sports in the 70s and you got Jim Brown and all these guys. You didn't see this back then. I see it now in the NBA. People refuse. Remember, Scottie Pippen refused to go into a game when the coach put him on the bench and they did something or whatever. And then Phil Jackson, I don't think Jordan was on the team then, because I think Jordan would have lost his shit. But they asked Scottie Pippen to come in for the last series, and because he was put on the bench, he told Phil Jackson no, and that was part of the reason why they kind of parted ways. They're like, yeah.
Unbelievable.
But, I mean, so it's a newer thing, but it happens. Antonio Brown, freaking taking the shirt off and
see,
bailing.
I draw a line. There's mental illness there, and we don't know. It's too soon to know about Devondre Campbell. When a guy's taking his shirt off on the field, and there's something.
But Deontay Johnson for Pittsburgh? He refused to go in the other day.
Well, it's okay. So,
I think it's a new thing, is my point.
So he's a first degree quitter. The Army example you used, second degree. A passive quitter. Then a third degree.
You need everybody to help. And you can't have people, like we never did it, but the guys that are carrying the telephone pole, and they do that in buds or whatever. They got the telephone pole, and everyone's got. Well, if you're like slumped down and you're not helping, you're just looking like you're help. You're putting more work for everybody else, and you quit. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway,
all right, let's get to horsing around with the NFL.
Right.
Let's
real quick on one thing though.
The hell is in your hand? Quick. What the hell is in your hand?
It's a pad of paper.
Oh, okay.
Real quick though, Brock Purdy. Real quick comment. I will say this. I know this as a Niner fan and watching the games. Brock Purdy cannot play quarterback in bad weather. Every game with rain or snow, he's horrible. I don't know if it's his grip on the ball. He's tried to wear a glove. He says, I can't. It's too weird feeling, whatever. He cannot go back to every game in the weather. If there was snow or rain, that dude's ball is all over the place. He has more interceptions. It's squirrely as hell. So Brock Purdy, you got to think about that, Niners. If you're going to sign him, there are rainy games and there are, snow games and everything else. And he is just not good if it's raining. So,
yep.
all right.
Damon Bruce quoted a stat from somebody that he respects, and it was like with the game, I want to say the Niners, or not the Niners, it was a quarterback stat that if your team was down like 6 points and you had over 50 throws, like what's your rating during the time, and do you guys come back and win? I'm not explaining it well. I'm not encapsulating it well. Go listen to Damon's show. You'll find it. But basically, Brock Purdy was like 244 out of 266.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
I mean,
and by the way,
drafted the last person in the draft. It's not like it was a first rounder, but.
Yeah. It's like, at some point, though, Niner fan needs to quit pulling that card. That card is getting old, my man.
I've never used it. I've never used it.
Yeah, you've never used that card.
No, I don't say that I think for where he was drafted, he operates like a second or third round draft pick. He seems like he should be a second, third rounder. Okay. He's competent. He's not a bad quarterback.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, on a grade, I'd give him a C plus B minus.
This is for a different show.
I need to make sure my picks don't match Haunted Horse.
Are you just reading my comments now?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I mean, he was saying it to me. He said at Haunted Horse.
This guy, dude, he just can't help himself. He gets so excited in front of a camera. Right. I love it. Love the excitement.
We've got producing a show because I do.
We've got Adam coming up in a few minutes. All right. I'm going to make, you know what? Liam picked first last week. So you, my friend, need to pick first. I will tell you which game it is. So we go in order.
I gotta boost your volume real quick. All right.
Liam picks by.
All right. So,
and by the way, I apologize for the background noise. We are literally on the Santa train. We're on the Santa train. And I think, and I didn't realize it until after the ladies were talking about what Liam and I were doing. So you might hear my wife in the background and some other people. But
my husband has a big show. He's really important. And they're doing a segment for this awesome show all of Sacramento listens to.
No, I don't think it was that. I wish. All right. So the first game is the Chiefs and the Browns. Liam picked it with a 4-point spread.
Well, let's use my spread. Otherwise, we're going to be all over the place. Because he doesn't care about the spread. I use it, right? Or are you telling your kid spread?
Well, no, it's what's in our system. Because he picks my games for the Yahoo League.
No, I know. But I'm going by what my system was. Because if you change this point spread, it changes what I'm going to pick.
What's your point spread?
Well, I went with DraftKings 30 minutes ago.
Okay.
But I mean, if I've got +6 and you say it's +4,
it moved
I'm
2
changing
points.
My bet.
It's a 2-point difference between Yahoo and DraftKings?
No, but I'll tell you this. In the 20 minutes I was waiting to go on your show, the Ravens-Giants spread moved a half a point. In the 20 minutes. Now I'm going by the one I wrote down.
Go with your spreads. That's fine. Liam has no idea. You just got to send me.
Saying. It doesn't matter to him, which is why when he beats me, it's horrible.
All right.
So you got Browns, KC. I do also have +4 Browns. I'm taking Browns +4.
Okay. Horse is going Browns. Here's Liam.
We are on the Santa train. Liam's picks. Week 15. Chiefs or Browns?
Browns. All right. We tied.
Browns.
Same pick.
You guys
we only had 4 different picks last week. We were picking the same stuff.
You did. All right. Game 2. Bengals, Titans. Liam picked it with a spread of 5 points.
I also have a 5-point spread for that, and I took Bengals -5.
Bengals -5. Liam.
Bengals or Titans?
Titans.
All right, we're different.
He's going Titans. I hope you guys have your notepads and your pens out. Liam on the season is over 500. So, and I know
do not bet with me. Bet with
I know DSC was like, oh, any slob could go 500, but I'm just saying. All right.
Right.
So Liam's going Titans. Horse is going Bengals. All right.
Yeah.
Next game, Commanders and Saints. I have it as a 7-point spread.
Hold on. Looking for it. I have it 7.5.
Okay. So I'll make a
So
note.
I'm taking Commanders minus 7.5.
7.5. All right. Liam, what did you choose?
I don't even know.
Commanders or Saints?
I think so.
Commanders.
All right. You guys are the same.
Yep. All right.
All right. Next, Ravens and Giants. This is a massive
I hate
spread.
this game, man. I hate this game.
15 points.
16 points. And it's
So
16 and a half
16.
now, but I'm going with 16. I hate this game, especially a Ravens team that will not show up against inferior talent and play down to their level. I hate this game with a passion.
This is like the Kings, like when you see a 7.5 point spread like last night. But anyways, go.
Right. Well, God, I hate doing this. I am taking the Ravens minus 16. It's got fail written all over it. 16 points. The
You're
Ravens
going
are
minus-
so inconsistent. Anyway,
minus
I'm taking the Ravens minus
16.
16.
All right, Liam.
Some form of football.
Ravens or Giants?
He's not at all into sports, so the fact that he's
Giants.
Oh,
He's
see, I
going
was hoping he'd take
Giants.
I was hoping he'd bail me out and take the Ravens.
He's going Giants.
Yeah, I hate that game.
I'm pretty sure he said Giants. Let's
Yeah,
run
he
it
did.
back really
I
quick.
think I heard it. Yeah.
Let's see.
Man.
Giants.
he's not at all into sports, so the fact that he's taking.
He's
Giants.
going Giants.
Yeah, I think he'll get me there. That was a lot of points.
Adam's tracking all the same picks as Liam.
Yeah, good. Do it.
Yeah, I know. BJ's a little sour right now. He thinks you should be going off Yahoo because you are signed up in our Yahoo group. We're
Yeah,
changing
you know
rules
why-
just
you know
for
why I
you
screwed
because
up
you
and I-
don't want to put your picks in.
I mean, in the future, if you want me to use the Yahoo, I'll go there. I'm just not putting picks in. I picked
John.
the first 3 weeks not knowing there was a point spread.
Liam's picked every home team last week. Coincidence? It is a coincidence. He has no idea. He doesn't know which team's the home team.
Funny.
That's so funny. All right. Next game. We've got a lot of Sunday games this week.
Yeah, there's no buys.
Cowboys and Panthers. I have it at 2.5.
I have it +3.
Okay.
Cowboys +3.
Liam?
That's another game I'm really not feeling good about because the Panthers are starting to play really well.
We already got the Chiefs and the Browns, dude. It was the first game. They both went Browns. Or wait, no. They both.
Yeah, we did. We
Yeah,
both
you
went
both went
Browns
Browns.
+4.
Yeah.
+4.
All right. Liam, who you got?
Like my son.
Cowboys
He's
and
hilarious.
Panthers.
He
Not a shock. So, okay. I can give you some Liam trends. Anybody keeping track, if there is a cat involved in the team name, Panthers, Lions, he's
Yeah.
going to go cat
Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah.
So that is one thing he will do because he likes cats. All right. So
You need to get him one.
well, it's not going to be just one. It's going to be two.
You should get 2.
It can't be one. And
One gets lonely.
Hey,
I have
anything-
2. I had one, and she was lonely, very clingy. Once you have 2, they are much happier.
This is the longest segment ever, by the way.
Right. I know. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. I wanted to talk Niners with you. We still got Adam coming up in a second. We'll be wrapping up here in a little bit. You made me lose my train of thought. What'd you like? Oh, the cat thing.
You were saying he always picks the cats.
And you said I need to get 2. Anything that sheds less than a Great Pyrenees. Anything that sheds less than a Great Pyrenees.
Yeah.
Holy
just
crap.
Get short hair cats. Don't get long hair.
All right. We've got Jets and Jaguars.
There it is.
3.5.
I've got -3, or I've got 3, and I'm taking the Jets -3.
Okay. Next week, you and I are going to talk offline. We're not going to do mixed spreads anymore.
Well, we've always been going by mine.
I've been going off of Yahoo.
No, you let me for 3 weeks. You let me pick my point spreads off of DraftKings because that's how I'm betting.
I thought
It doesn't matter to Liam. It matters to me.
Like who's going to be the winning team? And
Cat.
he's actually
It matters to me.
He's picking cats. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the cat is minus 16 or minus or plus 10. He's picking a cat.
Jets or Jaguars?
Jets.
He didn't pick the Jaguar. He just broke your cat theory.
Well, maybe he doesn't know that a Jaguar is a cat. He's 10 years old.
All right.
All right. Dolphins and Texans.
I've got Dolphins plus 3.
Yeah.
Dolphins or Texans?
Really?
Texans.
All right. So I'm gonna let myself, since the names are already recorded here, just read it off. Here we go.
Colts or Broncos?
All right. Hold on. I've got Broncos minus 4.5.
Okay.
Broncos.
You guys are the same.
He likes horses. That's why he likes me.
I need you to go and pick some
Bills or Lions?
I got Bills plus 2.5.
Lions.
Lions.
I'll tell you
Steelers
what.
or Eagles?
What?
That's the game I want to see this weekend.
Yes.
That Bills Lions game. That is going to be a fun game. And I've
Yep.
got some comments on that about betting. I actually going to give you guys a bet. All
Okay.
right, what was the one we just had?
Steelers.
Steelers. I got Steelers plus 5.5.
Okay.
Or Eagles?
Steelers.
I thought he said Eagles.
Did he say Eagles?
I thought he did.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Eagles.
No,
Cardinals
he
or
said
Patriots?
Steelers.
Did he? Okay.
He said Steelers. Steelers.
Cardinals
All right, we're almost through it.
or Patriots?
I already heard him say Patriots, but I took Cardinals minus 6.
Okay.
Bucks or Chargers?
Last one. Bucks or
Chargers minus 2.5.
Chargers.
All right, those are Liam's week 15 picks on the way to the North Pole. Anything to say?
Missing 3 games, my friend. That's fine.
Have a
Missing
good
3
day.
games. You're
Those
missing
are-
3 games.
What games are we missing?
You're missing Packers, Seahawks. You're missing Vikings, Bears, and Falcons, Raiders. But that's fine. We'll just do those.
You know what? They didn't load. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. You give the people your picks.
All
I'm
right.
gonna go off camera. I'm gonna let the kid give his picks live.
All right.
So you take the show for a second.
All right.
Do
Oh,
not
are you
do
gonna let me
anything.
take the show? Oh,
Do
what can
not
you
do
guys?
anything irresponsible.
What can I do?
So, hey, you all are my eyes and ears for 2 seconds while this guy has the show. Here we go. All right.
I'm giving my picks, and then I'll give my bet while you're gone. All right, there we go. Packers, Seahawks. I've got Packers minus 2.5. I gotta wait for Liam. Monday night games, Vikings, Bears. I've got Vikings minus 6.5. The Bears are horrible. Falcons, Raiders. I've got Falcons minus 4. And here's my bet. I am cold. I am super cold at this betting game. But what I like about that Bills-Lions game, the over is 54.5. Usually I like looking for an over that's 48 points, 49 points, 50, because those are usually the bigger over-unders. This is 54.5, so this is big. So I went with 4 guys getting touchdowns. Amari Cooper, touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, touchdown. Josh Allen, touchdown. And remember, the Josh Allen touchdown, it's got to be running or receiving. It doesn't count if he throws it. That's how that works. So obviously we're counting on him rushing. And Khalil Shakir. So 4 players: Khalil Shakir, Josh Allen, Amari Cooper, Jahmyr Gibbs. I bet $1.50 on that. It pays $48 if I hit it. So that's my exotic that I'm really looking forward to. I think there's gonna be a lot of scoring. Oh, there we go. What's up, Liam?
Good.
All right, the kid's live. You gave your picks. Liam's going to give his live right now. Packers or Seahawks?
Seahawks.
What? You're picking the Seahawks for the
You
first
picked
time this
49ers
year?
against the Seahawks last week
All
and you
right.
lost.
Bears and Vikings.
Vikings.
All right. Falcons and Raiders.
Raiders.
Raiders,
Wow.
BJ, giving you some love. Anything you want to say to Horace?
We remember that day that pigs I told Daddy, and when I pigs I said 40 rhinos.
Yes, I do remember that. I do remember that. Calling my team the 40 Whiners. Yes, I do remember that.
He just ran off. He
Yeah,
ran off, and like that, he's
Dinged
gone.
me.
And
Real
like
quick,
that.
did you hear my point spreads when I read those games?
It is funny.
Did you hear the
No,
point spreads?
I'll get him on the replay. All good.
Okay. All right. Perfect. And I'll send you a picture of this. All right. And I gave the audience my bet. Get me out of here. You guys, your audience is sick of seeing me. They're sick of hearing me. They want to hear Adam. So
all right, tell everybody where they can find you. Give them like
you know what?
15 seconds.
YouTube, haunted 00 horse. Those are 00s, numeral zeros, or you can go to hollywoodrejects.com, .com. And that just screwed me up. I got a show at 5:00, the Haunted Horse Show weekend kickoff. Where boom, doing the weird news, funny stuff. There we go. HollywoodRejects.com.
Appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you too, dude. Have a good one. When's the next Kings game? You said
Monday.
All right. Well, enjoy your weekend.
All right, brother. Be well.
All right. Take care.
The longest segment ever with Horace. No, you know what? So I was muted. What you didn't hear, Peter, was no cuss words. That's what you didn't hear. So that's why he didn't drop a D's nuts. For those that don't know, Peter's got a little bit of inside baseball. The kid is going through a phase right now. We'll just put it that way. He is going through a phase, and we are. And by the way, Mark Jones. Hey, Mark, you know what? I keep your image here just so you and I can talk. Since I'm blocked, well, I guess we're all blocked since you're not on Twitter anymore, even though you still technically are on Twitter, Mark. But I do need to talk to you really quick, Mark. Come on, bring it in, Mark. All right, Mark, you there? Okay. Hey, Mark, you know this story you keep telling online about this anonymous coach that finds players if they go for DeMar DeRozan's pump fakes on his middies when he's running his midi committee meetings, Mark? Hey, Mark, that's the Orlando Magic's coach. Mark, this is between us. It was in an article written in The Athletic. Subscription required. Mark, it's not a secret. Okay? We good? All right. See you later, Mark. Peace out, Mark. Get out of here, Mark. Mark, leave my show. Get out of here. Mark, thank you, Mark. Get out of here. Seriously, did you guys know that? It's from The Athletic. Can he stop already? Yes, the player, and it's not just a DeMar DeRozan thing. Orlando's coach, because they have such a focus on defense, Orlando's coach will find the players for certain tendencies of the opponents if his players fall for them. So come on, Mark, do better. Adam, my man, thank you for waiting. Let's shut this thing down with some WWE.
Well, we can't start talking about WWE until we start talking about my Sun Devils, baby.
Oh, that's right, dude. Okay, so you weren't here, and I gave him some love on Monday, and I said I've got a really good inside story, but I can't tell it without Adam's permission.
Yeah.
So I think you might need to tell that story during this segment.
Okay.
I'm just going to lay out for you. You talk about that day. I want to hear the whole story because I only got a couple text messages.
Yeah.
The floor
and
is yours.
We sort of missed each other playing phone tag a little bit there.
We did. Yes.
So, yes, I was at the Big 12 Championship here in Dallas. And, I'm very privileged and lucky to have a great job, and they provided me with a sweet ticket to the game. And so I'm sitting in the suite, the game's about to start, whatever. Kicks off, and my back is sort of facing my back is to the door entering the suite. And every time someone comes in, I'm looking to see who's coming in, because I just gotta scope people out and figure out what's going on in the room. Uh, and in walks the main event, Mr. Jay Uso. And it's tough for me to sort of bottle up when someone I really like, I meet them in person, right? And so
Yeet!
yeet.
Were you just like,
Yeet!
I almost hit him with the yeet. I thought about it. It crossed my mind. I didn't even know if I should say anything, but I couldn't help it. And I just go, Jay, what's up, man? And he turns to me and goes, what's up? And like gives me the look that he gives to, like his enemy wrestlers, I suppose.
yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like I'm not talking to this dude anymore. He thinks I'm a freak. I'm gonna leave this dude alone. Maybe this wasn't the right venue to whatever it was, right? So an hour or so goes by, and we were kind of sitting by the bar. So if you wanted something to drink, you kind of had to pass by me. And so he goes up to the bar, yeet, and and he turns around, and they're giving away free cowboy hats in this particular suite. And he goes, "Where's your cowboy hat, Oos?" And I was like, "I don't got one, Oos." So from now on, I am an honorary Uso.
Boom!
You can call me Adam Uso.
Yes!
Put the ones up.
Yeet!
Dude,
Acknowledge
you are an
me.
Oos. You are an Oos.
Acknowledge me!
I was waiting for it. He is literally an Oos. You are Oos Adam. You're
Sorry.
Adam Oos.
Can't, I don't make the rules.
I mean, oh, and who else was in the suite, by the way?
Yes, so Sami Zayn was also in the suite. And so Sammy comes over to the bar and grabs a water. Fully expected that. And I just go, "Hey, what's up, Sammy?" And he was like, "Hey man, how you doing?" And so that was cool. I didn't have as my good buddy Mankind would say, the testicular fortitude to go over to them and ask for a photo or anything like that. But I did get a little selfie with Jay's back turned to me. But
Which Adam sends me. Or no, he sent me the Sammy one. So he sends me Adam sitting in this suite, and he sends me a picture of himself, and there's this dude with his back, and he's a taller dude, taller than I expected, because I've never seen Sammy in person.
I was sitting down. They're all pretty normal, 6'1".
Right.
Nothing
Okay.
too crazy.
Fair enough. And little man bun, sweater. He's like, dude, that's Sami Zayn's behind me. No big deal. And I'm looking, I'm like, Adam's trolling me. That's not Sami Zayn. And then like, I'm kind of looking and I'm like, wait, is Sami Zayn? And then I'm like trying to do the pieces. I'm like, how is Adam in a suite with Jey Uso and Sami Zayn? And how the hell did Adam have no idea that he was going to be in that suite with those guys? Because the whole way this started was this dude sends me a text message from the field before the game started.
Yeah, we had
And I'm
field
like-
access. It was incredible.
I'm like, what's this dude doing on the field? And so I figured he was in one of the suites that were like literally on the field in Jerry's world. No,
we were
okay.
up a little bit.
So you obviously did not watch SmackDown or watch SmackDown start to finish the night before, because they announced that Sammy and Uso were going to be at the Big 12 Championship.
Okay, yeah, I must have missed that part. A lot of times I like to start SmackDown a little bit later. Usually that's my kids' bedtime, so I'll put them to bed. Then I can fast forward through all the commercials, which if there was a Big 12
it was
thing,
during the commercial.
I would fast forward through
It
that.
was in the bump in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, dude, you are an oos. And we're going to get to the questions in the chat. Bro, are you feeling oosy?
I am feeling very oosy right now.
Like,
Yeet!
so okay, your employer, by the way, they freaking do it right, bro. Because I am pretty sure I know what your employer went through to do that. That's the way to do
Gave
it.
him a lot of money.
Well, okay. You and I have looked at different packages, right?
Yeah.
For certain events.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there's these premium packages for like WrestleMania, whatever, and there's a company that sells them. I'm pretty sure your employer went through one of them because that's how you end up in one of those group suites. They buy the suite. Go ahead.
No, we were a sponsor of the game. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Even better. All right.
Yeah. So,
my wife might love you more than me.
I'm sort of like the Kramer
I'm just
of my
saying.
company. I just sort of fall backwards into opportunities.
Unbelievable, dude. How long in advance did you know that you were going to be going to the game?
Well, I pled my argument that
Oh,
I
you
should
made
be
an
at the
argument.
game. Yeah, I
Okay.
made an argument that I should be at the game.
Nice.
Because of my fandom. I lived in Tempe for 15 years, so
Nice.
so
All
Devils.
right. All right.
But-
Wait, we didn't talk about my Ducks now, Adam. Yeah, dude, stop it.
Hey, you had your shot, horse. You decided to talk about a loser in the 49ers, all right?
Ooh, fighting words.
I know that's fighting words.
Okay, people want to be acknowledged.
Acknowledge
I know we hit
me.
that one for Adam before. Didn't know, Adam, you're an action figure dude.
I'm not really. I just like the ones that I like. My wife bought this for me today, actually, the Jey Uso one, because of my experience this past week.
That's pretty cool.
But I got a few.
Acknowledge me.
Okay, so Mark gets to our first wrestling question. Missed the last show on WWE and War Games. Wanted to ask, did LA Knight lose his belt because his head hit the metal part between the two rings?
I think, Ryan, you hit the nail on the head. I don't know if you want to take the reins on that, but I think you described it perfectly as to why LA Knight won.
I think, or why he lost. Yeah, I think I think LA Knight lost for a couple of reasons. You can't put the new Shinsuke Nakamura character right into a title match and have him lose. Like your character, your repackage is done.
As soon as you said that, it all made sense to me. I was like, you're absolutely right.
And which will transition us to this, and maybe they already announced it, and I'm just behind the curve. Last week, LA Knight was like, "Oh, I want to get my rematch tonight." I bet that's coming. It's Saturday night's main event, and my guess is LA Knight gets it back there.
I don't see anything for that, but obviously we've got SmackDown tonight. LA could come out and demand that rematch this evening. But I don't know. Maybe he gets a push into, I've been seeing some talks about him versus Solo. I don't know how that fits
It's
in, but-
interesting that you say that because last week on SmackDown, they came out or they were doing the Shinsuke segment with LA, and then Andrade inserted himself into it. And it was like him and Andrade kind of teamed up. They fought each other, but then kind of teamed up and then fought each other again. So who knows? They might be doing something like that. Not a bad take, Adam.
And here's my thing, right? Like LA Knight, he's 41, sort of in the twilight of his career, but also in the prime of his career, I think. As far as like, the sort of pop he gets. And so you got to do something with him. And it's probably not this year or 2025, maybe, but maybe you build towards 2026 as him making a push towards one of the championship titles.
So they're definitely going to do something with him. When you get your own title, like you're getting, they've got plans for you. So I don't disagree with you. It's just you hit the nail on the head. Like he is in his prime, and it's such an awful time to be in your prime. But like he's also older. He's in his 40s.
Yep.
So Alex says hearing a mega push coming for Finn Balor next year. Looking forward. They flirted with Finn back and forth, like he did it with Seth. He did it with, well, think about, okay, here's a great thing. Because McMahon, so Triple H was massively high on Finn. Remember how cool Finn was coming out of NXT?
No.
Okay.
But go ahead.
So have you ever seen Finn's demon entrance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like Finn was really hot. And so when Finn made the jump from NXT to Raw, that's when they introduced the Universal title, whichever the red title was, right? And he was the first one to win it, but he got hurt in that match. So he had to give the title back. And ever since he just kind of,
I got nothing against the guy, but when I think about that title, his name doesn't come to mind within the top 10 for either one of them.
How could it? He didn't. Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. Speaking of titles, really quick, did you hear that Cody Rhodes is going to be using the Winged Classic WWE Championship at Saturday Night's Main
Let's
Event?
go, baby. Bring it back.
Dude,
Let's
doesn't
go.
that kind of like...
I love what they're doing with that. It's on NBC, which it was on, when it aired originally. So I think it's really cool, like nostalgia play that they're doing with Saturday Night Main Event.
What I don't love, though, is the fact that, did you see Jesse Ventura? I'm not sure if
He's
you
going to
watched.
be a color announcer.
He doesn't look well. Like, he doesn't look great.
I mean, how
Like,
many wrestlers do we know that are 60s, 70s that look great?
It's the weirdest thing because they deflate, right? They
I mean,
completely, like, it's not like
Lex
you lose.
Luger is the one that comes to mind.
Bobby Heenan, when he was getting older, it's not like you just lose your muscle and you're a regular person. You actually, they look like they dehydrate and deflate. It's so
they look
weird.
like beef jerky. That's a great point.
So, anyways, now Cody actually, it was something people don't realize. He had the wings from the Winged title replicated for his entrance jacket that he wore at WrestleMania 40 when he won the title. So if you go back and watch, the exact wings that are on that belt are the ones that are on his jacket. Little inside WWE there.
There's always little Easter eggs that they plant with this stuff.
Little inside WWE there. My source told me about that, and I didn't notice it until I looked at it.
I am in a time warp right now, but did we do a show last week? Was I on here last week?
No.
That's what I thought.
No Adam. No Adam.
Yeah. Gosh, I feel like we got so much to talk about.
I know. Okay, so you take over. What do you want to? This is your segment. What do you want to hit? What from War Games, from everything?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about War Games. I thought the women's match was kind of brutal, to be honest. There were some botches there, but and I hoped and thought that it would probably be the best match of the night, but I thought the men's War Games match, they crushed it. The CM Punk pulling Roman off the table at the last second, that was incredible. You have Tongaloa, who's out 6 to 8 months, I think, somewhere in that range. You have Bronson Reed. I don't know if you caught the replay on that on Raw. It was disgusting. His foot looked like Play-Doh when he hit the ground. That was brutal, and Jimmy's injured as well.
I mean, I'm sorry, Bronson. You got it. I have no right to be telling you what to do, my man. I've never taken a bump. I know that you guys would kick me out of the locker room if I tried to walk in. But dude, you got to take that bump on your belly, man. You can't land with your feet down, and that's what he did.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy for us to say, I suppose, right?
But you
Bronson Reed
just,
is a big dude. I think normally he does hit those jumps with his feet first to lessen the blow
of
on
course,
the opponent, right?
of course,
But that was his ankle, his whole foot, everything. It just looked like putty when he hit the ground. It was disgusting.
it works from what is it, 8 feet high?
Yeah.
The turnbuckle, it works from 8 feet. It doesn't from 20 feet when
20. Yeah.
you're that big. Just gross. Hate to
Mark.
see it. Dude was getting a massive push.
Mark's talking about the weak chair shots from Naya. And I thought the same thing. I think there were a couple. I think the EO Sky where she comes off the top and tries to get do like a somersault with Candice LeRae into a power bomb. That was a biff on Candice. But to Nia's chair shots. I was hearing that sometimes wrestlers don't set themselves up in an appropriate way to receive the chair shot. And so it may have been less about Nia hitting her than it was the person who was receiving it because there's angles and stuff where they can hit you flat with it and it's not gonna you're not gonna feel it as much. But if you position yourself in a weird way, it might actually hurt that person. So it sounds like maybe she was trying to avoid that. That being said, I do think Nia had a less than savory match, as Rome would put it.
So by the way, guys, you can only get that type of inside wrestling here from an actual Oos. You hear that? He has it on authority that sometimes people do not prepare themselves properly for the chair shot. Only an Oos would know that. Like, that's Adam freaking Uso right there. Just saying.
Acknowledge me.
Did his ankle shatter? Worse, dude. It like compressed.
I think it disintegrated.
It compressed. It was
Go watch the replay, man.
Yeah,
it was brutal.
You know what surprised me? That WWE actually, Mark, if you watch the first 5 minutes of SmackDown from last week, they show a replay of it, like in the intro recap. Like, I don't know why they showed that, but
yeah, I think it was Raw because it was
Raw.
right after
Okay,
the event.
then it was Raw. The injury messed up Balor when they were pushing him to the moon. Yeah, but Vince wasn't even like super behind Balor when he came in. That's why he started kind of tweaking the character. Now, I mean, can you go back to that character? Maybe. I mean, maybe that's how you repackage Finn. Even a clear victory over Roman when Vince was heavy protecting Roman. On that note, I need the belt back on Roman. No, see, I don't. Do you want the belt back on Roman?
I don't want it back on Roman right now. I think I wouldn't. Okay, if we're gonna get into that, I think there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, right? Like you've got the Seth Rollins, you've got Drew coming back, both of which I could see a world where Drew and Seth maybe sort of like become not friends, but they both want CM Punk out, right? And they both hate the bloodline. They hate Roman. And I hear that Drew came back early from his massive head wound because of all the injuries at War Games. He wasn't supposed to come back that early. But if we're gonna talk, I don't know if I want to see Roman with the belt back quite yet. I think, we're talking. My mind goes to the Cody KO stuff, and I actually like what they're doing with the Cody KO stuff. I think they had 2 SmackDowns ago where they had that confrontation with where Kev's sort of coming out of the audience and he was ripping into Cody. And I
He's wearing his
loved it.
tuxedo shirt.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
Okay, just so you know, what you're seeing from Kev is very similar to what happened when the last time we were on when I asked you about the pipe bomb thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very realistic. In fact, the CM Punk thing was pretty real, and so like you're kind of seeing that from Kev again. They're blurring those lines, which works.
Yeah, it
It
totally
sells.
works. And they hit some stingers on each other in that little segment. And you know what? I'm going to take Kevin Owens' side on this. I think the KO shirt where it says Kevin was right or whatever, Kevin's right. I believe it. And I think that's going to play out over the course of the next 6 months or so. I think
He-
you're going to really start to see that show itself.
I think what's going to happen is this. So the show ad, or the in-show ad with Otis was hilarious. I don't know if I remember that. I think I kind of do.
Yeah, I'm kind of spacing on that one too.
I'll go back and check it out. I think you're right, but I don't think Kevin wins the title. I think what happens is Orton comes back to attack
Somehow
KO.
sides with KO.
He's gonna come back. He's gonna attack KO. He's gonna help Cody win the title, like in a match or whatever. It'll be that same time when Orton comes back. It'll be a KO Cody match. He's gonna help Cody retain, and then he's gonna turn on Cody, and he's gonna say KO is right, and you're off to the freaking races.
Yeah.
With Orton and Cody in WrestleMania season, and that is what a lot of people want. I actually want that. I was a legacy guy. I think that would be incredible.
I'm so down with that. And I think like who is going to take the belt off of Cody? And does it happen in 2025? I think it does. And I don't think it's Roman. And so it's got to be somebody else. And maybe it is a Randy. I don't know if it is, but that's probably where the money's at.
I don't think it's Solo.
I don't think it's Solo.
I don't think it's the werewolf. I don't.
No.
It's definitely not going to be LA Knight. You've got to somehow get it to a heel unless Cody turns heel.
I don't know if we're ready for that heel turn yet.
I don't think so either. You've got to, here's the other thing though, and you've got to keep them apart. WWE's doing this mix-up thing now, by the way.
Yeah.
Where there's a it's a transfer portal.
Yep.
Is what it is. And you can go between shows. And so I think you're going to see some NXT people come up. I think Ethan Page comes up from NXT. I actually like him. He's good.
Mm-hmm.
He'll have something with Punk because that's who he's been talking about. But you've got to keep Cody and Cena separate. You can't have them anywhere near each other. If those two share a ring, you are going to ruin Cody's character because there's already a segment of the audience that is seeing the Cena in Cody, right? Like the ultimate baby face doing what do they call it? They call it the Cena schedule, right? Doing the Cena schedule. And so they're doing a good job of playing off of it while keeping Cody sharp, but it could be one of those moments where the crowd completely starts to, and it wouldn't be like immediate, but that's where the decline, I think, where it's like, okay, Cody's like this corporate champion, kissing babies, blah, blah, blah. It's not fresh anymore. And you run the risk of having it shoved down your throat. So you got to keep those two apart.
Yeah. I'm hearing that Cody's probably going to pull double time with the Netflix switch, and he's going to be on both shows. Obviously, SmackDown is his show, but I think Netflix is calling to have Cody and Roman on Monday Night Raw. And why wouldn't they? Those probably two biggest names in WWE. So I think you're going to see Cody on both shows, and you're going to see him a lot. But I think you're going to see a lot of that crossover. And this is kind of what we talked about a couple months
Yeah,
ago,
you've asked for it. You've
Mhm.
asked for it. John asked really quick, and we're gonna wrap up in about 5-10 minutes.
Sure.
What's The Rock gonna look like in 20 years? I think The Rock's gonna look exactly
I was
how he looks
The
until the
Rock's
dude
gonna look
dies.
like The Rock.
John, The Rock's a different cat, my man.
Yeah.
He is just built different. He's got the genetics, he's got the drive. Have you heard about the body doubles this guy has?
The Rock?
Yes, The Rock
Oh,
has
like for his movies and stuff or what?
no, he has 2 well, maybe they do some of the residual movie stuff where it's not like where it's a long shot, but he has 2 full-time body doubles that have
Me
to
too.
yeah, you too. That's right. 'Cause now you're a noose. You have to. You're a noose, my man.
Acknowledge me.
He has 2 full-time body doubles that at any given time have to be doing the same diet as him, the same training plan as him, the same looks as him, and I know his look doesn't change really from the neck up, but everything has to be exactly the same. That's their full-time job.
God,
They
that's
meet with
gotta be
him, like,
terrible.
once every couple yeah,
It's gotta be terrible to eat
and you
really
know everywhere
clean and
they think about, like
look like a god.
you know that dude you know those dudes are playing that card once in a while, and I'm sure it's in their contract they can't. You know they act like they're The Rock when they're not with The Rock.
Would you?
Probably like, unconsciously. I would try my best not to, right? But I'm sure there would be a part of it.
It
Yeah,
might slip through a
probably.
little bit.
Yeah. You get a couple cocktails in you. I don't drink really, but yeah, I could see it. Same wardrobe, John, same everything. Yeah, it's insane. So back to your point, Cody pulling double duty. You got to be careful about that, having both champions on one brand, though. You got to be
Yeah.
really careful about that because you can ruin your other champion and make that title look insignificant.
Right, and speaking of which, we've got a triple threat match. Gunther, Damian Priest, and
I'm
Finn
sorry,
Balor
excuse me, who?
Gunther!
Yes, there we
There
go.
it is.
Got
So we got that going on tomorrow night. Who do you got in that one?
Say it again. You got Gunther. Oh,
Gunther?
yeah, Gunther. Gunther. Unless this is where they start the Goldberg thing.
I think Damian Priest is going to win tomorrow night.
Do you
And it
really?
pains me to say that.
Do
I
you
think
really?
Damian takes it.
So here's the thing that I would say: expect fireworks.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, expect fireworks.
They're on network TV. Yep.
They've got Netflix coming out. They're not going to do anything bigger than what they're going to do on Netflix, but they're certainly going to do stuff to set up the product to be hot as hell rolling into Netflix.
100%. You are on network TV. There are 4 channels on network TV. And if you don't think they're going to seize this opportunity to spark people's interest into coming over to Netflix, you're insane. And to me, that screams title changes. I think that is the title you change hands. I don't think
You're right.
KO is going to beat Cody
100%.
tomorrow.
100%. You're right.
What do we got? Io Sky versus Liv. I don't know that one
I don't think that happens.
moves the needle too much
No.
for people watching. I think they'd be fine with watching Liv retain there.
Because you have to scream at the casual fan.
Yes.
Right?
100%. So I think KO losing, like he'll be a good bad guy to Cody's super baby face as they move forward. But I think this is the title that gets moved, unfortunately for me. We also have Sami Zayn versus Drew. I'll take Drew on that.
100%. 100%. I think you'll get an LA night title match too.
I would
Probably
love
be a
that.
triple threat.
I would love to see that.
With
Yeah,
Andrade.
with Andrade and yeah. And then where does Santos Escobar fit into that?
Nowhere
'Cause
right now.
I know. And they just
Nowhere.
keep teasing him in LA Knight, but they don't do anything with it.
Well, it's good storytelling.
Mhm.
because at any time they've got multiple options. That's what you want. I guess, like, as we look at, and we'll wrap up here, as we look at this transfer portal thing, and we've named a couple names that could be, starting to get runs. People have put them in the chat. Who do you think is going to be a significant move? I mean, we're coming up on that time where it is actually, we are not coming up on the time. We are here. It's the Royal Rumble build.
Yep.
Like, we are here.
Yep.
So it's almost the road to WrestleMania. They've got to start rolling out some storylines before Netflix. So I think maybe, like you said, Saturday night's main event is really where that all kicks out. But, like, who's that guy that we're not thinking of? Like, we haven't talked about the New Day. How important are they going to be? Like, who's going to be the next hot talent? Is Jey Uso going to cool off? Like, there's got to be that one or two going into WrestleMania.
It's a super question. I think it will be a CM Punk. I think that Paul Heyman stuff with CM Punk.
What do you think the favor is?
I'm sorry?
What do you think the favor is? They're playing this whole thing up.
Yeah, and they did the whole cinematic thing on Monday night, which was cool. The interview and all that. And I love what they're doing there, but they're doing those like cinematic things with CM Punk. They have the thing with him and Roman and Paul Heyman at the table. And I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but you had Paul Heyman, who was actually the one sitting at the head of the table. If you look at it, between Roman and CM Punk. So he's probably the one pulling the strings, if you're going to ask me. And I think, does Punk take the title off of Cody? I don't know. That doesn't.
I just had a light bulb.
Yeah, what is it?
The favor is going to be Brock coming in after Drew. That's how you get Drew out of the title picture, and you keep CM Punk and Seth going together.
Yeah,
that's a good match.
I think Brock's got to come in soon, right? Like,
not on NBC though. He ain't coming back on NBC.
No, please not.
No.
He's maybe not the right guy. I think that's why they put him on cable television in the first place.
Well, especially coming off the Janelle. That's another thing. There's still some serious heads at WWE that could possibly roll that we have no idea about, because there is a hanging out there federal indictment possibly for Vince McMahon, which is somewhat in the same ballpark of what P. Diddy is dealing with right now.
It is in the same ballpark. That's for sure. One last thing before we go. We've got the U.S. Women's Championship tournament continuing this evening. And I'm going to start with, we'll start with Chelsea versus Bailey. What are you thinking?
You had to get to Chelsea, didn't you?
I had to get to Chelsea.
Dude,
and yes,
I think Chelsea, I think there's no doubt that she's winning the title, especially because it's in Long Island. That's where she lives. So go ahead.
Okay. Now, Chelsea wins tonight. We've also got Tiffy versus Mi Chin. And this is where I think it gets interesting.
Okay.
Who do you got in that one?
Probably Mi Chin, because you need somebody. You got to keep Tiffy strong.
I think it is Mi Chin, because then Chelsea could get the rubber band match, right? And get vengeance on Mi Chin, win the title, and then maybe you have a Tiffy cash in after she wins it.
She's been teasing a lot. They're doing too much teasing with her.
Just
and
do it.
I guess her whole gimmick is too much teasing to a degree. But anyways, yeah. But no, like, she was in NXT, kind of like teasing with Roxanne Perez. I can't wait till Roxanne Perez comes up to WWE? I know you're up to the main roster. I know you're a Jada Parker.
Yeah, I
fan.
like Jada. I like you know,
Julia, dude.
NXT is stacked.
Julia's built
Not
different.
on the male roster, that's for sure.
No, the male
I
roster.
mean, they're stacked there too, but they have a lot of up and coming.
I don't think they have
wrestlers.
nearly as much on the male roster as
Yeah.
NXT usually does. I don't think. I mean, Trick Williams will do fine on the main card, but he's not like he's not going to be like a superstar, right? He's not going to be a bona fide main eventer, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know.
But the crowd could put him over maybe because of
Yeah.
his whole whoop that
What
trick.
trick? It's
Yeah.
fun to say.
It is fun
Who
to
doesn't
say.
want to whoop that trick?
What is whoop that trick? Oh my gosh, we're going off the rails. All right, tell everybody where they can find you.
You know what? You may or may not find me on at the Casual Guy Cast on Twitter and YouTube. I'm sorry, YouTube and Twitch. You can find me at Casual Guy Cast on X. But this stuff's on life support at this point. I have just been getting worked with work and life, and my career and my family come first. So if I
Amen.
get an opportunity to do those shows, that's great. But I love being here on Fridays and talking about this more than anything. That's where I have the most fun. So
Well, dude,
maybe I'll throw out another
you're
episode, whatever.
brother. You're a oos now, which means like this show's gonna be nothing for you anymore. Like we're the small people now.
Hey, if I become the sixth member or fifth member or whatever it is of the bloodline, I want to thank all the little people that helped me get to this point. No, I'm kidding.
So did those free Cowboys hats come with like a story from Jerry too?
Dude, I wish, but they were like some nice Stetson cowboy hats. They were not.
Stetson cowboy hats.
I mean, these were $200 hats, probably.
Oh, they were literal cowboy hats.
Oh yeah, no, they were nice. Everyone in that room.
They weren't like the football team cowboy hats. They were cowboy hats.
Actual cowboy hats. Yeah, not Dallas Cowboys, but
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that makes
Yeah.
sense. All right, dude,
Mhm.
you're the best. Way to kill it.
Appreciate you, man.
Good job, brother.
Appreciate you guys.
Adam,
Thanks for
knocking
tuning
it
in.
out of the freaking park as always. Man, Fridays are busy. They are a little bit longer. They are a little bit more off the beaten path. We've got the horsing around with Liam. We've talked Kings. We've talked Niners. We've talked WWE. We have done it all. You know what hasn't been done yet today? That's Napes. He's back 8:00 tonight. Join him. He's finishing the night off with all of you. Open forum. You guys can talk about whatever you want to hit Napes with sports wise. Hell, even if it's not sports and it's not something that's pulling people apart, or you get what I'm saying. You want to talk food, travel, along those lines, Napes is here for it as well. But plenty on the sports menu to be hitting right now between the Kings, the debacle with the Niners. I go back to what I said about that, and I stand by it. Premeditated insubordination, which if that's what it was, I mean, I'm sure it's happened so many times behind the scenes where dudes just stop playing. They retire. You don't know the real reasons, but for a guy, and Honor said it, it's not like this guy was shocked. Campbell, shocked that he was not starting. And if he was obviously living in an alternate reality. When Dre Greenlaw, who's been out since last Super Bowl, rehabbing, you know he's close. You know he's a game time decision. So it's either going to be you or him. Like, if you had it in your head, and I can't prove that. I don't know. Campbell's the only one that knows. But it's plausible to think that decision was made. If I don't get this start, it's it. Done. Walking out on this team. But to think something like that could have been, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope that it was just anger, spur of the moment, shock, and it is still awful. You can't excuse it. It's the worst of the worst. You walked out on your team. But if it's the other, and this guy was getting dressed, preparing all week with his teammates, knowing that he was going to walk out on him, I mean, what the worst thing you could do in a professional locker room. Worst thing you do in a profession. Take sports away from it. Anything else in life, like Haunted Horse said, the military, and thank you for everybody that has served. Thank you. Appreciate your service and your sacrifice to maintain and give us our freedoms. But office place, relationships, bad stuff, man. Really bad stuff. Napes, I'm sure, is going to hit that. And I asked the question as well. I asked, Grant loves Christmas shopping. Yep. You guys know all the stuff that Napes really loves to talk about. You do. Yep. I asked the question, and Horse kind of proved my point for me. Everybody's saying, do you sign Brock Purdy? Do you sign Brock Purdy? You give him the big contract. What if Brock Purdy doesn't want to sign with you? What if there's better options out there for Brock Purdy? Why wouldn't there be better options? Another team. If Purdy's as good as everybody says he is, why would he not have options? Why is everybody pigeonholing him into the 49ers job, in that job only? Because the Niners, they're getting older. There's a lot more questions than answers in San Francisco. Your Kings back to 500, back in action again Monday. We hit that as well. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you so much. Make sure you're subscribed. If you are still watching, give us a thumbs up. I would really greatly appreciate it. I know Grant would as well. Y'all are literally the best fans, and also the most knowledgeable fans in the association. And we love this community that we have with all of you. Do us a favor. It's Christmas time. It's the holiday time. There's a lot of people that don't know about us, that don't realize that Napes is still on the air. If you have a friend that's a Kings fan, if you have a friend that likes some wrestling, just shoot them our link. Let them know about us. That can be your little Christmas present from you to us. That would mean the world to us. We're always looking to grow the channel, not just for ourselves, but for all of you, more importantly. That is why we put in the time. That's why we do these shows day in and day out. So be good. Take it easy. Like I said, make sure you join Grant tonight, 8 o'clock. We're going to go out with his logo. 8 p.m. Napes will be here. Hell, I kind of want to join Grant tonight at 8 to talk about everything going on. But y'all have gotten my takes. Time to listen to his and get with him. Make it a great weekend. We are back with the King's Court on Monday, 2 o'clock. And Monday, we have got game day coverage as well, which means you're going to, at the very minimum, have 4 shows on this channel. 5 shows on this channel, possibly 6. I could see Nape squeezing one in, meaning a 2 o'clock King's Court. You're going to have a pregame show. You're going to have a halftime show and a postgame show. So 4 at the minimum, probably 5. So make sure you're subscribed. Be awesome this weekend. Make sure, please, that you stay safe. Roadway is supposed to be nasty weather. And be kind to somebody. It matters. Go Kings. Light the damn beam. As my man BJ says, please still stay away from Levine. And Mark, don't forget that secret. That article is in The Athletic, Mark. Mark, you don't have to act like it's an unnamed source, Mark. Athletic. Subscription required. Got it. Okay. Stay away from Levine. Court is dismissed.